So I'll tell you a little bit about who I am and what I do. Let's see, I think I have to hit this. Ta-da! That's me. Oh, arts and services. Oh, good. We can laugh here. We got to do that, huh? Okay, Arts and Services for Disabled Incorporated is a private nonprofit organization, and we are actually in our 25-year anniversary. And I'm one of the founders and the CEO of that organization, and it's based here in Long Beach. We have all of the creative arts therapies. We have music, dance, drama, visual arts, and literary arts. And we utilize all of the arts in addressing many domain areas for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, ages 18 and older. Those are our day programs. So we have day programs that support these individuals in Long Beach, Gardena, 2 in Hawthorne. And we have our ancillary programs and services are called our Accessible Art Workshops. Hello, welcome. Be sure that you get a marker, a piece of paper, a handout, and an instrument. It's all mandatory for today. And yeah, sorry, I had to give you guys toys today. So the Accessible Art Workshops, actually in the last year, we have reached over 4,000 people in the LA and Orange County and San Bernardino counties. Children through elderly that have Alzheimer's and convalescent homes, young children who are in special education and school districts that typically would not have the arts accessible to them. We make that accessible through the arts, like the LA City and Arts Council for Long Beach. We have many grants that support this kind of activity so that we can continue to keep the arts alive in many of the settings and populations that typically would not be afforded that opportunity. We also do adolescents in detention centers, other places that have individuals with developmental disabilities that are in work-study programs, for example, that may not have the arts available to them. So we do a multitude of services. So that's who we are. And I'm going to show you a quick DVD. I guess I should tell you just a little bit. Our company, too, has gotten in 2002 from Washington, D.C. I got to go over there to the State Senate, and they awarded us the National Model Site Award. And only 2 organizations have gotten this award in the history. One is in New York, working with children, and the other one is us. So that was kind of a fun thing. Last year, I got the Betty Eisner-Howry Award, which is the top professional practice award in the Western region for music therapy. And I just found out just last week, the President National Office of Music Therapy, next week I'm going to National Conference, and they're going to be presenting me with a National Award of Professional Practice. So that was kind of fun. I didn't realize that. But, you know, the thing is when you're out there doing the work, it's really your clients and your students and the people that you work with that I feel really deserve the awards, because they're the ones that are creating and benefiting the most from the arts. So let me show you this DVD really quick. I'm a little bit technologically challenged, so I don't know. I think we have to press play. Arts and Services for Disabled started in 1982 by myself and Maria Rubino. We're the founders of the organization. We started off with one program that was Therapeutic Arts Program in Long Beach, and it was just Maria and I and 5 students, and it grew to today, which we have 5 programs, and we serve over 150 students daily. And they are all given opportunities to take music, dance, drama, visual arts, and language arts classes. The whole premise of Arts and Services for Disabled is really to try to give them as many opportunities to be a part of the community and to build their own individuality to their potential.
If we're able to, we kind of work with the client on what their goals are and what they'd like to do, and ideally we would discuss their goals with them and have them agree to them. You know, we don't want to impose a goal on somebody that's not theirs.
And once they're able to feel good about themselves and comfortable and successful in doing their artwork or their skills, then we offer them the opportunity to participate, submitting their artwork into community art galleries. We have the George V. Deniff Gallery across the parking lot here. That's the on-site gallery.
And we have exhibits up all over the community, such as the one here in this local coffee shop.
Having exhibits in the community is one way of sharing what we do with the community and integrating our clients.
But not only to put their artwork up or their audio pieces or their poetry, then we take them to the gallery and the kids and say, wow, I did that. And that's nice.
Well, that's very good.
Yeah.
A lot of things you put there in that.
Hard work.
So they can actually see that their work is no longer at the program, but it's out in the community and it's being shown to many, many people. So they feel so great about that.
The same thing applies to our radio project. In the music classes and in the art classes, they created pieces that they knew that there was a goal in which it was going to be performed. And so they worked really hard to make the product exactly the way they wanted. And then they went down to the radio station, and it was really exciting to watch them record their performance and complete and accomplish that goal. It gives them a real sense of self-esteem and self-worth to know that they are not just in the community, but they are being a part of the community.
You just don't put them in here in a very structured environment and not to give them the opportunity to show up. They need to show up, they need to feel proud of themselves. When you see these particular exercises on the students, you probably think it looks easy, but for them, it's a big achievement.
Good job, Ricky. Thank you.
For us, we do take it for granted, but for them, it's a chore. And for them, it's just like, okay, I want to do this, but I can't because my muscle strength isn't there.
Like Matthew, he's just one of the happiest guys I've ever
Yeah, he's very happy.
But he has absolutely no muscle control whatsoever. And you can see him getting very frustrated, you know, like he was trying to do the guitar, but he just, you know, but for him to even reach up like that is a huge accomplishment, and he would never have done that before.
Good job, Matthew.
And once you can accomplish the initial goal, they realize that they're capable of accomplishing even more goals. And really at that point, they just need support.
We have to make them believe and feel that they are capable of doing things, creative things.
I was really kind of frustrated because I was trying to, I kept erasing and erasing. I was trying to get my thing like I wanted to get.
One thing you can do to help that is to remove erasers. When you have an eraser, it assumes that you're going to make a mistake, and then you feel obligated to like erase something that doesn't appear right. So we removed her erasers, so she had to acknowledge something that might be a mistake and go with it. She had to leave it on the page. And the first time that she worked like that, it was very, very frustrating, but the end result was exactly what she had been looking for, which was really a sweet thing.
For her drawing, Ed Sullivan offered me an ice cream cone. The next award goes to Allison Salo.
Hey!
At the end of the day, for me personally as a program director, I think my main priority outside of any of the goals or learning is that they have come here and spent a day somewhere that they feel they belong, they feel like it's their niche, they feel that this is their place and they look forward to coming to it. If they want to come back tomorrow and next week and the week after, then I believe that we've done a good job, and that's my primary goal. If on top of it they can be learning and achieving and feeling good about some product that they've done, you know, done a painting, completed something that they did hard work on, and then have either an audience enjoy it or somebody see it in the gallery or even purchase it, which is the greatest thing. So when we can provide that kind of thing and that happens, it's really cool.
I think that a lot of artists have developed a confidence they didn't realize that they have, and an ability to refer to themselves as artists and take pride in their work, and a confidence in being able to talk about what they do and why they do it, and that it's a passion for them and they have to, or they really love it.
I'm the best artist of the year.
So we're helping them to increase their skills so that they can be around things that everybody's around, that everybody else has a right to be part of the experience of what the world has to offer, because they have that right too.
You know, everything that you want to have out of life, you know. You want to be happy, you want to be loved, you want to belong, you want to be creative, you want to be productive. You know, all of those things that you want, everybody wants.
Well, I understand that all of you, or at least some of you, are going to be going to Cambodia. How exciting for you. And I think that you could probably take some of the values of some of the things that you saw on this DVD and take them with you to Cambodia, because from what I understand, you're going to be working with children who probably haven't been afforded typical things in society. That have been segregated, that have been, you know, abused or exploited, or have been taken away and robbed of what typically should happen in a growing up experience. So the crossover, they're really, to parallel it, it's very parallel. Do you see that? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do a little experiential thing with you right now. Mwah. Okay. I have sorry. Let's see, I have another CD. Okay, before I pop that in, I'm just going to leave it there like that for a second. I'm not going to put it in yet. How many of you know what this is? It's a bowl, yes. This is a Tibetan toning bowl or a singing bowl. And typically in many areas of Asia, this is used in meditation, or in like the Buddhist communities. Many sound healers will use the Tibetan bowl. It's made out of 7 different metals, and the vibrations are pretty much known to be healing for individuals. And one of the things about music therapy is that each and every one of us is a musical being. When you were first a rhythmic person, you were in your mother's womb listening to the heartbeat and listening to the rhythm of her breathing. And as you were born, you picked up your own rhythm. And the way that most music therapists like to see each individual person is they're looking at them as their own musical composition. The rhythm of speech, the way that you move, the way that you present yourself, the energy that you have. And so we have vibrations that are constantly going through us. When we look at a person, we say, you know, I really like that person. It's like listening to an instrument. There's certain instruments that you really love listening to, and then there's others that you don't. So it's typical that if you come up against somebody that you really like their vibrational. That's their timbre. Okay? Or if you don't like them, it's usually a clash of frequencies. Okay? So right now what I'd like for you to do is close your eyes, find a very comfortable place in your chair, feet flat on the floor, put your pencils down. And I want you to take a deep breath in. And blow it out. Deep breath in. Blow it out. And as you take your breath in and out, pay attention to your breathing. Breathe in good energies and breathe out any tension. That's called transformation. And it only took, what? A few minutes. You. And a little sound. Right now I'd like for you to take your pen and the marker that you got and your piece of paper. And I want you to write a word that describes your day. And then I want you to draw about that word. Okay? Write the word and draw the word that has to do with your day. So one of the things that music does is it helps provide a container that keeps you safe and helps you to focus so that you could create. Okay? How many of you were able to think of a word that describes your day? Raise your hand. How many of you were able to draw something that described that? Raise your hand. Okay. Now, how many of you think you can play that on your instrument? For example, if my word for today was thankful, I would play it in a rhythm. So my word for today is thankful. Thankful. Or it might sound like this. If I had a shaker, it might sound like this. Thankful. 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 Rachel, what's yours?
Hectic.
Play hectic. Again. Thankful. Thankful. Larry, what's yours?
Fun.
Play fun.
Have fun every day. I don't know. Just
Good. Okay. Thankful. Thankful. Everybody play your words. Thankful. Thankful. Look at your words. And really put that intention into your instrument. Thankful. All right? Trying to give you a few little things and some hands-on kinds of stuff that hopefully you could take with you in your personal life, and then also hopefully to take with you when you go to Cambodia to work with children. Okay? I guess we should continue this, huh? All right. Enough playing around. Oh, yeah, that was that. Okay. One of the things was that when I started to look at some of the statistics, it was horrific. And I've heard that you've had some presenters that have come through over the last couple of weeks that have done some statistics with you, that have shown you some of the things that children and women are subjected to. It's phenomenal when they break it down into the actual different parts of the world. I know Cambodia is not up there, but it's in the millions. That just floored me. It was just like, and this is documented cases. It's just amazing to me. One of the first things that I highly recommend is, of course, the importance of culture and knowing about the Cambodian culture and knowing about what they value, what their beliefs are. How many of you have done a little research on the Cambodian culture? A little bit. Okay, good. Between now and then, you should do a lot. Talk to people who are from Cambodia that are here. Ask them about what are their beliefs in family, what are their values, what are their beliefs in disability culture. When I did a little bit of research on this particular culture, found out that they live by the 5 Confucius virtues: humanism, morality, proper conduct, wisdom, and trustworthiness. They also live by Buddhist principles: love, compassion, justice, forgiveness, and peace. And all of this is working towards a life of harmony. And the other thing is that they avoid confrontation. Their belief in education is humongous. It's terrific. Children are ingrained with a lifelong respect for knowledge, wisdom, intelligence, and love of learning. Children, they're viewed as extensions of their family, of their parents. If they have any type of negative behaviors, they are severely punished because they have disgraced their family in some way, shape, or form, so that the family can save face. Now, with all of these things in mind, where do you think I'm going with this? What do you think the implications of this is now that you have a family who's faced against the fact that they need money to survive, or that other people are violating them for money? Okay. Child slavery for money is huge conflict in the basic Cambodian beliefs. So this becomes a cultural myth that now must find a new normal. When you're working with people who have been in trauma, they have post-traumatic stress syndrome. The trauma now becomes a wound. Okay? The wound comes because there is a myth that we all live by. We all live by a myth, you know. My family will follow the 5 Confucius virtues. You know, we are going to focus on morality and proper conduct. Then it becomes a myth when that doesn't happen. And now, once the children are rescued, now they have to find a new normal. Because what they have experienced has been normal, but it hasn't been normal, right? So they have to find a new normal. And that's a long, long journey. And it takes people to help them to find that new normal. So what is post-traumatic syndrome? stress syndrome. It's very real. And as we talked about, it has to do with living through something that was very disturbing in their life. And it can be treated with medicine and therapy. What if you don't have medicine and therapy? Then what do you do? Trauma, defined as a wound, is an emotional state of discomfort and stress resulting from memories of an extraordinary catastrophic experience. As defined by Charles Figley, an emotional state of discomfort and stress resulting from memories of an extraordinary catastrophic experience which shattered the survivor's sense of invulnerability to harm. Okay? You can probably look him up and get some information. An emotional, something emotional or shock that creates substantial lasting damage to psychological development of a person. That's out of the dictionary. Lasting damage to the psychological development of a person. You know, it's kind of interesting when you think about if the children are our future and they are being destroyed at a very early age and not afforded the same opportunities of development as other children are, what happens to the future? Not good things. So the work that you are going to do in Cambodia is going to be really important. Very serious work. The thing is that trauma is up to each survivor. The definition provides a guideline for our understanding of a survivor's experience of events and conditions of his or her life. Basically, if they are given the chance early enough, that development can now, once they find that new normal, can now develop into possible steps towards healing. Okay? This is a website that you can go to where this is taken from on trauma. It's www.sidran.org. And you go to What is Trauma? Some resources. You can get PTSD after you have been all of these following things. This last Saturday, I had the opportunity of going with another music therapist down to San Diego and working with other professional music therapists that were evacuated and have now lived through the trauma of fire. Some of you might have even experienced some of that with family or friends or maybe yourselves where you've had to be evacuated and had the threat of your lives or your homes. And so what's important is that after a traumatic experience, it's good to go in between 4 to 6 weeks to go in and start working with people. Many of these children don't have people that have gone in to help them for a very, very long time after they've been rescued, right? Am I right? It takes them a long time. So the longer the wound is open, the longer that this wound stays, the longer it's going to take to heal that wound. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. What are the symptoms? Think of yourself as a child and put yourself in any of these situations. So you're walking into a group of children who might be having nightmares or scary thoughts. They might be very angry. They might be a little paranoid, so they have a hard time trusting, especially an adult. Okay? So these are all things you have to think about when you're going to go in to work with these children. How am I going to be? How am I going to be as a person when I approach this child? And I offer them a marker and a piece of paper. First of all, are they going to know what to do with it? Second of all, are they going to trust me? Third of all, what are they going to draw? And once they draw it, what am I going to do with it? Here are a few more things. And I actually, Carlos, I have a packet of information where all this is taken from so that you can disseminate that information. You know, they might be complaining that they're not sleeping, or they have conduct disorders, social withdrawal, attention problems. So, you know, they might not even be able to focus on what it is that you want them to do. You might have to do little things at a time, or give them lots of support. Okay? When does PTSD start, and how long does it last? Well, we kind of talked about that a little bit. It starts within 3 months of the event. So if they're 12 years old, it started a long time ago. Or it may not show up until years later. This is kind of interesting when I was thinking about this. Many of our students at Arts and Services have a sense of PTSD and a sense of loss. And because they have the developmental delay, many times it doesn't show up for a very, very long time. It takes years for a lot of those symptoms that we read earlier to occur. Okay. Can happen to anyone at any age, and even children have it. Here's a really great website, www.netsnet.org. You can write this down. And Professor Ron Borzon, who's a music therapy director at Cal State Northridge, he's renowned internationally for doing a lot of trauma work with at like Columbine, 9/11, Katrina. And he was the one that went into San Diego on Saturday as well. And he finds this the most valuable resource. And there is a packet that I also gave to Carlos. It's called Psychological First Aid. And if you go to this website, you probably get this packet from there. And it's extremely helpful when you're working with children. It's from the National Child Traumatic Stress Network, National Center for PTSD. Does anybody know about that website by chance? No? Do you? Great. Okay. It's one to keep in your resources. Art and music therapy. In your handout, I've also given you, you'll see an article that came out right after Katrina hurricane, where art therapy was used exclusively with children. Part of it was to allow them to play. Many of them have a hard time playing. So you have to spend a long time being a kid yourself with them and getting out those markers and just cutting loose and having fun and just being with them, being who you are with them, okay? The art therapists were able to work with the children through much of their stress, where after you have established a rapport and you have a relationship with the child, then the child will start to play. And through that play, on an unconscious level, they will start to tell you, or they will start to draw about their trauma. And they'll start telling you, or maybe when the words are too much, or in some children, they're so little, or the language, they don't have the language to really tell you, then what they'll do is they'll start to draw it, because it's safer to put it on paper than it is to actually say it out loud. And so through the art therapy, they were able to identify some of those fears through the nightmares that those children had, and to be able to start to even to process those thoughts and feelings to promote healing. Music therapy promotes healing through providing a way to explore and express emotions without the strain of verbalization. Well, what did you guys just do today? I gave you a little sample of that, a little bit. You were able to create a piece of art from your memory or your experience of today. Whether it was traumatic or not, I don't know. But, and then you were able to express that feeling through your instrument. Okay? And you didn't really have to say the word. You just had to play your instrument. Maybe you don't want to say the word. Maybe I just want to play it. I just want to know what it feels like. I don't want the pressure of having to tell you my story. But this feels good because it's safe. And then your work begins. Okay? So creating a safe space. Carlos and I had lunch today and we talked about creating that safe space. Creating a safe space is so important where they can trust you. Because you got to remember, they haven't trusted in anybody up until this point in time. So how are you going to get them to trust you? Okay. Creating a safe space. Being there for them. I invite you to look at the two websites for musictherapy.org and arttherapy.org. Both of those websites are excellent because you can actually go in and pull out some materials and some resources, some articles that deal specifically with art and music with children that have been with trauma. Okay, they have them on the website. You can actually click on the article and read it. You can download it. And they have ideas and things that you could use with the children. And I think this is the one from Art Therapy. It's like this thick. But it has like a bunch of really wonderful articles. And I would highly recommend that you look through and find something that interests you. Okay. All right. One of the work of some music therapists just in the last couple of years, and I see that the sex and drug trafficking and the child labor is a kind of war. It's a societal war. It's a type of genocide of our future. If you're destroying the children, what happens to the future, right? So it is a war of some sort. And these music therapists had actually gone to Uganda. And anybody hear of the night walkers in Uganda? Have you heard about those children? That are, the soldiers come in at night to their villages and they take them as soldiers. To kill and to fight wars. And so one of the ways that the children of Uganda have been able to seek refuge is they would flee at night. they would go to another village where there was a safe space for them to take refuge away from the soldiers finding them. And there has been quite a bit of work that has been done. We're going to talk about them in a little bit again. Reidenreich, just a recent study in 2006, says music therapy, significant decrease in the symptoms of traumatization using music therapy, and the success of other types of therapy such as art therapy. More than half of the children surveyed reported that they felt a sense of relief while drawing pictures, talking or playing, and expressing their bad memories from the war. And the other article that I gave you in your packet is from the Star Bulletin in Hawaii. We had a music therapy conference there in March, and the newspaper actually interviewed the music therapists that were in Uganda. So that story is laid out for you in your packet there for you to take a look at. Okay, so I have another DVD that I'd like to show you. Carlos, if you wouldn't mind putting this one on. It's this one. This last summer in August, actually, Liz, our music therapist, there's Liz, and Larry and Rachel are my music therapy interns, came with me and we did a drum circle for youth at risk and their families in a local area. These are.
Oops, sorry.
It's okay. You go ahead and play it. Well, you'll learn about it. In music therapy, we use music as a way to emote and evoke self-expression where words may not be enough. And perhaps the sound, whether it's a vocal improvisation or a sound on the drum or an instrument, can mean so many different things to somebody that they're able to actually put it on, like let's say a drum beat. And yet to ask them to talk about perhaps a very painful incident would be very difficult for them. So a music therapist learns to listen to the music and listen to a lot of what that person is doing physically as well with the instrument and the way that they play it. So we listen not only to the sounds, but in between the notes. And we only bring fun and play to music. Okay? Only fun and play. That's all that's allowed in here. Today was a drum workshop that was offered to the community, and it's a great example showing how the community can come together and provide a musical container for people who would not necessarily have the opportunity to participate in something culturally enriching. Participants of Arts and Services for Disabled are individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Many of them have very stressful lives and hardships. And this is a place where they could come and forget about the outside world and focus on enjoying themselves, something positive that they can think about, something that they can do together as a family, where they can laugh and communicate and collaborate, maybe work out a little problem, but do it through music and using instruments.
So I'm first inviting you to listen to me. Very good. Take and give. Can everybody say that? Take and give. Take and give. Again. Take and give. Here we go. Take and give. 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 Take and give.
Drumming has many benefits. For example, if you're playing a drum, you're moving and you're breathing and you're listening to this rhythm and you become entrained, which means that you start to pick up this rhythm, and then somebody else entrains with you and starts to pick up this rhythm. And it gives people energy, and it's fun. And so typically then the stress decreases, and you're able to provide a more positive energy for yourself and a positive attitude. And so health-wise, it's an extremely healthy thing for people to do. If you start a rhythm, you see people start to move and start to engage in the rhythm, and they can't help it. And it just draws people in. It creates group cohesion. It helps people organize when their thoughts or their feelings or they may feel disoriented. The rhythm itself helps them to organize and entrain and focus when other places in people's lives may not be so beautiful. And music allows a space for that person to embrace something that they can create and call their own. We're able to release creativity. It may unlock things that were suppressed, and through the music allow somebody to feel comfortable enough eventually to maybe use words to describe what their feelings are. Today there was a young boy who wasn't quite sure, he was a little apprehensive and didn't want to come into the group, but when he slowly heard the other children playing and saw how much fun everybody was having, he decided to join the group, and then eventually, from not playing an instrument, ended up at the end of the session being the one trying all the instruments and playing his drum the loudest and sharing with everybody. And that took place in just an hour. Typically, traditional services would not have gone that far with an individual and help them attain that kind of confidence in just an hour session of, let's say, talk therapy. But the drumming was able to invite and was non-threatening and allowed him to make that kind of a vast change within an hour's time. And I don't know any other therapy that does that. When I asked the group if anybody had played an instrument before, guess what? Nobody had ever played an instrument before. When you looked at that, didn't they all look like they were playing instruments? It was amazing. It's extremely accessible. The arts are extremely accessible. You don't have to be an artist and you don't have to be a musician to be able to play and draw, right? Because half of us in this room are probably not musicians or artists, right? And we did that today, didn't we? So that was very cool. All right. I'm going to move along here because there's a couple other things I need you to do. One of the things, the 4 common reactions, according to Yumaki Agawa, 2004, is that children are going to experience the traumatic event through repetitive and intrusive thoughts during relaxed time. So if you're doing a drawing project or you're having them listen to some relaxing music, that's when the subconscious opens up. And so they will be re-experiencing that because the mind psychologically relaxes enough and those images start to emerge. So be prepared for that type of thing. Repetitive behaviors or reenactment. Basically what they're doing in order to assimilate what's happened, they'll say it and they'll do it over and over and over and over again so that they can, it helps in the healing process and helps them to process it. So they might draw circles and circles and circles and circles. So don't try to get them to draw anything else because if they're in this stage, they need to draw circles. There's a reason, okay? Trauma, specific to fear, is very obvious. And this is the 3rd stage. And that's where you'll see a lot of the anxiety, agoraphobia, and panic disorder orders. Anybody know what agoraphobia is? Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. Did everybody hear him? Fear of being in crowds. So they stay inside. They don't want to go anywhere, be with anybody. Okay? So if you see that happening, that's probably where they are. And a distinct sense of futurelessness. This just popped at me. It's as if life stopped for a child on the day of the trauma. Life stopped. So you might be very apathetic. They probably aren't going to want to do anything. What do you want to do with your life? I don't know. What do you want to do tomorrow? I don't know. Well, what do you want to do now? I don't know. So apathy sets in. Okay? So what we do with the art and the music is to go in and to show them, because when you're in the here and now, in the present, and you get them to even make the smallest bit of sound on an instrument or the smallest little mark on a piece of paper, you've made progress because you're moving forward. You're showing them what they can do, and then you build on it. You snatch it up, and you build on it. Okay. Children may make up the experience of the event and even take blame. It's all my fault. It happened because of me, somehow. So the key to therapy is to eliminate that fantasy blame and turn around the negative thinking. So what can you do? Make sure that you're creating that safe space for them, and it reestablishes a sense of control for them. That's key. Express confidence in the child's ability. Wow, I love that sound that you just made. Wow, that color's beautiful. That's so you. Okay. Eagerness to be fully present with that child. Fully present. Don't be thinking about anything else. Be there for them. They will give you everything. Just wait for it. Just be there for them. Maintain a consistent and predictable relationship with the child. If you say you're going to see them tomorrow, guess what? That's right. You better see them tomorrow. Because why? Yeah, they'll be sad and very disappointed. And it's built on that whole trust thing. No, you didn't really love me anyway. You didn't really care. Rejection. I'm a nothing. There's no future. Right. You don't want to reinforce any negative feelings. You want to reinforce that you are there for them, that you're there to support them. Okay? And encourage freedom of expression to enhance the healing process. So what if it's anger? Anger can be very healthy. Just be careful how they express it. So you might have to teach them a different way of communicating it. And what better accessibility than the arts? You're angry? Here, take this red pen and rip up this piece of paper. Go for it. Right? You angry? Pick up that drum back there and beat the heck out of it. That's where you express your anger. And just put all those thoughts and images on that drum. It won't go anywhere else. Okay? So replacing the negative behavior with something that's more appropriate, more positive for them. All right, you ready to play some more? Okay, let's see, what do I have up here for you? All right, on that same sheet of paper that you had, I want you to flip it over on the other side. Really quickly, I wanted to just show you this piece of artwork. I don't know if those of you in the back probably can't see it all that great. This is done by one of my clients who had been abused in a state hospital from childbirth. When we got her, she was 50, and she had not expressed her trauma, or had been, but they didn't pay attention to it, where she was actually biting herself and screaming 24/7 at the top of her lungs. And when she finally came out of the state hospital and came to our programs, we started to get her involved in art. She had one of the most beautiful singing voices, so we replaced the screaming. The music therapist worked with her and replaced the screaming with vocalizations, vocal improvisation, and started to turn that into song. And then through the art therapy, the art therapist was able to get her to start to draw. And so she started to draw about her trauma, which was the first time that we had even explored or even knew that she had been sexually abused, as well as the fact that she was biting, and so the way that they solved that behavior was they pulled her teeth. So she didn't have any teeth. So this is just a piece of artwork that was created that expressed how she felt. So it can be very powerful. I'll leave it up here if you want to come by and see it later. I could do that. Okay. Now what I want you to do is I want you to write another word on the top of your paper. And I want you, that word, to be something that described your experience today here in this class. This is the song that the music therapist sang to the children of the night walkers in Uganda as they went from one village to the next to seek refuge in the middle of the night. And I want you to sing this song with me as if you are singing to those children. Here we go. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Last line. Please don't take my sunshine away. Oh, you guys are great. Oh, can I come back? Okay, so when you look into the eyes, into a child's eyes, you expect to see hope, trust, and innocence. But when you see the signs of childhood that have been replaced by betrayal, hunger, fear, and suspicion, we need to take a serious stock in ourselves and in society that we have created. Here's some resources. Thanks.